Derby and our Long Bangers listeners. I'm Matty,
I'm Colin.
And I'm John.
and happy Christmas to you both. A couple of days late with that, but did you just both have a nice festive period?
Aye, it was good. I got over my cold, more or less.
Good.
So aye, no bad. No
I
bad.
wasn't
Yourself?
bothered. I wasn't bothered when Colin had got over his cold. I gave him a big cuddle yesterday. I wanted
Aye,
everything for him.
that's right.
How
It
come
was
you? How
super,
come you
super
didn't give me
spreading
a
event.
cuddle when I saw you?
Was that sorry?
How come you didn't give me a cuddle when I saw you?
I,
I
I
got one
just
for Leon.
because you were there with your dad, and I don't know how these things work. Like if he was like, I know we weren't under his roof, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would allow that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He would have been happy enough. But Jack sees early on. He said, "Hello, everyone. Hello, Jack." A good wee Derby vlog for Jack up on his channel as well. So go and have a check out of that. And Chris said 4 minutes past 8. Shambles having me wait for so long.
Did
Sorry,
complain,
Chris.
Chris. I was complaining myself.
Colin did complain. He says, "Colin, we're late," as we were doing small talk before we got started. We were just saying how much we're looking forward to doing this and getting it right fucking up them. Chris said, "What a bloody day! Still looking for Braga." Well, we did have we put a tweet up earlier on, and Fatis Prickus asked if we were taking questions for the episodes. I said, "Yep, if you have one," and he said, "Thanks." And his question is, "Who the fuck is Claudio Braga?" Colin, do you have any idea?
No, I've heard a lot about him. All I've
Mm-hmm.
heard is Claudio Braga, but fucking no. That's two derbies though. I thought that. Maybe he's good in other games.
Rob Morris said, "Even though I'll keep hearing that this Radio Braga is a belter of an anthem, but I've yet to hear it. If it's the best that their analytics can come up with, they can keep it." They sang it before the game, and my son pointed out, and I don't care if it's true, but they just sang the verse for the Queen song. Like, I think whether they've changed any of the words. You know, normally when you have a song for a player,
Aye.
you change the words to make it suit the player, but I think they just pretty much sang Queen.
All right.
And then when all we hear is Claudio Braga. But you didn't hear that through the game, not at all, unless you were kind of keeping track of how many times a certain player fell on his arse.
I think the first thing I heard from them was, I don't know what time it was exactly, but they got a corner after about 20-ish minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they were pretty subdued yesterday.
Well,
Quite nice.
they gave it a big ooh when Shanklin fucking missed his sitter. Mind,
Oh, there was
we
that.
just
Aye.
left him unmarked at the back post.
You sure that wasn't us? You sure you didn't mishear us going,
Maybe.
hey?
Was Braga the boy that tried the head kick?
Oh, can't mind.
Oh, I'm not sure. It was in that far away place that I couldn't quite see.
Well, I did see somebody put his stats up on Twitter earlier, and his XG was 0.03. That would probably fit an overhead kick, eh?
Aye, that'd be about right.
I thought you were quoting his overall XG since he
For the
joined.
game yesterday, aye. That was
J Star said, "Delighted for Campbell and Meg, but McGrath has to be one of the best free transfers we've got." Ken said, "Evening, guys. Nice to see you all happy." McCod Army said, "The Jambles are hurting. It's fabulous." And Jack said, "Hearts fall begins, I hope." And all we hear is radio silence. It's a good shout. Ali Doll said, "Does accepting and eating a chocolate brownie before a derby kick-off ensure a victory, John?"
Did that come in from Hibs Allison?
Alison, yeah, Ali Doll
Aye,
is
so
the username.
funny thing. So yesterday, I knew that Fatis Prickus and Alison were going to be sitting next to each other yesterday, but I've gone in to my seat and I've just been in a wee bit of a haze. I wasn't thinking about things. And at the start of the episode, you said about like Fatis Prickus had sent in a question, and you used it like everyone knows who he is, and everyone does know who he is, and it's absolutely fine. Everyone knows exactly who Fatis Prickus is. So I've sat down in my seat and I'm sitting there and I'm just sort of like watching the warm-ups and whatever. And all I hear over my shoulder is Carvey, Carvey. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I realise I now answer to internet usernames.
Excellent,
And
as it should be.
to answer the question, yes, brownies and cuddles are the order of every derby from here on in.
it's a new superstition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we know how much we like. But my old man said he'd got new underwear for talking superstitions, and I don't care if I'm oversharing here, but his Christmas he got pants and socks, and one of the pairs of socks he had were maroon, and one of the pairs of pants he had were green. So he wore them both, but because the pants were higher than the socks, that was his thinking behind it. So and it worked. So
Skimmy's getting next year then.
aye,
Tommy Two Sheds says what you're
this
getting.
is he needs needs to get socks for all the shirt colours or the teams in the league, and then just wear the same pair of pants all the time. Norman said, "Evening lads and lasses," and he said, "For Matty, I saw a Jambo coming out of Jokers in Dunfermline, sick as a parrot." It's no surprise coming out of Jokers, you'd be sick as a parrot, but even better. There was, see, before the last derby, I was in the big Tesco over the road from me, and had a Hibs top on, and there was a boy walked past and just went, "Mona Jambos," and I was hoping I would see him when I was in Tesco earlier on, just to
Funny that.
give him a bit back, but they all go underground, don't they? Apart from the ones that fucking tweet us. Right, I'll catch up on more of the comments we come back to. But we'll start. We'll better talk about the game, like and what happened and the things we normally talk about in these episodes. The starting lineup. John, what were your thoughts when you saw the lineup yesterday?
I think the one that most people are probably going to talk about is Megwa. That was the one that stuck out for me because he was starting. But I think when we'd done a preview show recently, I'd suggested sticking him in there as cover for Cadden, just because we were talking about changes and looking for improvements, and that was maybe an area that we could improve. But if you were like, that was the only possible change, unless you were going to change like the whole kind of formation of the team and how we were going to play. And I think I'd probably share similar sentiments to other people where they looked at Megwin and thought, that's a bold one. Like, despite having suggested it in a previous preview show. However, my response to that was like, I think it's fair and reasonable to look at the guy that's the least experienced in the team and think to yourself, well, that's where the goals might come from. However, I think what we can do as supporters is not add to that, is try and like encourage them through the game, like not be too hard, like because a misplaced pass or whatever. And I think by and large we've done that. Certainly when he was playing in front of us in the second half, like the shouts around me were, I'm not going to say that like they were encouraging. They were reflective of what he was doing, which was like really crucial interceptions, blocks, and tackles. Like he more than held his own in a game. Like for an inexperienced player, performing at the level that he did yesterday, that has been the undoing of more experienced players. I think he should be really proud of himself.
100%.
You make Mitchell. Sorry, carry on. You carry on about Michael.
I was going to say, you make a great point, John, about when there's a player that there are question marks over in the lineup. But you have, like, these days everybody wants to be right, so they pile in with the complaint, "Oh, we shouldn't be playing them," and then they wait for them to make a mistake so they can go, "Oh, I was fucking right, Ken, they shouldn't have been playing." But you're absolutely right, John. That's the time more than ever to get behind a player is when you're like, right, this boy might be finding it difficult today. Let's make sure he's got the full backing of the support. Colin, go ahead.
No, I said Mitchell was the only other change, and he you could argue he's less experienced maybe than Megwa, or similar experience level. So I guess they balanced it out, kept one of them, and kept Megwa in to keep obviously their star man quiet out there. Because I think we all agree he's a one-trick pony. Like, I know that Hearts fans disagree with me because I had the conversation at work a while ago. But if you don't let him step in on his right foot, he's not got anything. I think we've seen that in 2 derbies now, because Cadden kept him quiet in the first one as well. And he done that until I think about 70 minutes when he got his first shot away. But it was also coincided with Mulligan going off, who was probably providing a bit of support out there for him. And then obviously we brought on a different type of midfielder, so that kind of opened it up a wee bit for him, and that's where he started becoming a bit more dangerous, because we were letting him step in. If you don't let him step in, he's not got anything.
Did you have any other thoughts on the start lineup, Colin? John sort of highlighted Megbury. Anybody else there kind of jump out when you saw it?
No, really, it was the same as last week, apart from those 2 changes. Apart from O'Hara coming in, wasn't it? There was no other. Was it one change?
Just just the one.
Aye. And because we've got obviously about a weekend squad at the moment with the boys at AFCON, being away at AFCON, you're limited probably in what do we change, because Chaiwa might have been a shout to come in. You've got a beat on the left that could come in. Rocky could have came in. You know, they're all boys that are generally, you would say they're starters. But I know they've not started every week, but you know, they're in the mix for the first team all the time. It's not like they're sitting out there like Megwa and Mitchell that we're talking about. So we can squad. I think we managed it quite well to balance it. O'Hara was really good as well, which was good, because I think if he hadn't had a good game, then the pressure would have been on there because he's taken Mitchell out of the team.
Aye, this is true.
Who had a good game last week.
Aye, Photo Horror was excellent, as was Megwa. A conversation we had up in the stand before it was Barlasser was probably the other question mark. So Megwa coming in was what most people were sort of naturally drawn to, but Barlasser had a bit of a reputation for not performing in the big games. You know, like when he doesn't have the time on the ball, etc.
Yep.
So we kind of kept an eye on him, but I thought Barlasser had a good game.
He's good in the first half
as well. Aye,
He kind
he
of
fell
calmed
out a
down a
wee
bit
bit
in
in
the
the second half.
Yeah.
Well, so then the game kicks off. It's a cracking atmosphere. Over 20,000 in a football stadium in Edinburgh. It'll not happen too many times this season.
Just the twice, probably.
Probably just the twice. Certainly, only happening in the east of the city. But and you could tell it was like a busy game. Colin, you were late. You were telling us before we came on. You were late getting tickets. Could tell us about that.
So I had resigned myself. I'd fucked that up. My daughter was raging at me, right? Because we've not got season tickets this year with her football, right? We just go when we can, which is most of the time, right? But I've not got to say I should have bought a fucking season ticket, basically, and I never, right? Because she plays on a Saturday. Anyway, I'd missed the 10 o'clock sale that day. I thought it was about 10:15 went on, no chance, right? So I've been scrapping about trying to get tickets, and I've got somebody. But obviously, we don't get anything for the club in that. I think people think we do. We don't get anything for the club. We don't ask for anything like that.
Don't even get the time of day these days. No, I'm joking.
But anyway, so I was. It was ended up at 11:20 yesterday morning. I was still in my bed, resigned to go in and having to go and watch it on the telly, which is fucking brutal watching a derby on the telly. And got a text. Got 2 tickets if you're wanting them. Women at my work, whose son works at the club, and so horsed it. Well, got dressed, horsed it down to the stadium, and we got in at 12, just before 12:26. It was timed that we walked in, just I think as the tifos were out. So it was a bit eventful, and then thanks to McBee, John's mate and friend of the podcast, because he got me into the Albion after it as well, which was good in there. My daughter got her photos with all the goal scorers and the club captain, so that was ideal. In there for a couple of hours after.
Brilliant. And it was like a proper derby build-up, wasn't it? Like the stands were full. They looked great with the tifos, like the East and the famous 5. Hearts fans were noisy for their part. I mean, they obviously came fully expecting to arrive and turn us over and tickle our tummies and fuck off with 3 points, didn't they? Although I noticed McInnes never said he expected to win after the game this week. He did after the event.
He said they were there for the taking, the 3 points, though, didn't they, before it?
But he never said he expected to win, which was interesting, because we cannot expect things after it happens, as you say. 3 minutes into the game, John, we go 1-0 up. Talk us through the opening goal.
Do you know, I'm really, really happy that I renewed my season ticket this year. So to add further context to that, last year I let it go while I was completing my final year at uni, and I missed out on a lot of really iconic occasions at Easter Road. So like Iredale winner in the derby, for example. And yesterday I got the opportunity to sort of reclaim some of them or share in them, if you like. So the opening goal, Barlaser, I think, plays the ball for Cadden. And do you know something that I've maybe not given Nicky Cadden credit for is his ability, the way that I think of Nicky Cadden isn't so much that he beats a man, it tends to be that he gets a ball wherever he tends to get it and he just whips in a ball from wherever it is that he happens to receive it. And yesterday he's had a go at their right back, and when you're in that sort of vantage point in the stadium, when you're up close to this stuff, you can see like the little bits that the players are doing, like just to try and gain that little bit of an advantage. So he's invited their right back into, to try and go for the ball, and then he sort of just got that yard away from him and whipped the ball in, and then I had the perfect vantage point for McGrath. And actually, you have those like split seconds at the football where you're not quite sure whether it's gone in or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly it's at the fucking back of the net and it's absolute pandemonium. And for further context to that as well, before the game, when I'd gone up and spoke to Fats Prickus and Alison, I'd say like we'd had a wee bit of a laugh. It's like, I'll be right up here if we score. So I'm sat between Leon, Rasputin, and a boy called Mark Skinner. And they've just fucking peeled off in all directions, so that it's completely, the avenue's completely opened up for me to make true that prophecy that I was going to come over and and cuddle Fatis and Allison. And I the whole thing, it was just absolute pandemonium. And I think it was so early in the game that the smoke for the pyro and the fireworks still hadn't cleared yet. And I think when you watch back the footage, like I'd mentioned in previous episodes, like the aesthetics of football, the things that you can properly enjoy. And that was one of them, like the
Aye.
picture after the game of like the smoke still there as Cadden's beating his man and the ball goes in and the
It
ball
was
hitting the back of the net.
it was better as that boy with the Stone Island jumper on, fucking waiting on McGrath, finishing his knee slide.
Aye.
That is fucking a brilliant
Yes.
photo.
And
That's like
if the
that's one for the
photographer is
frame. Like,
listening, if the photographer's listening, or if any of you guys happen to know who the photographer is that took that, I would love to get that image on a mouse mat or somewhere because that's the sort of stuff like when I talk about the Block 7 banner being upside down, like that for me is an iconic image. Like Iredale standing on the advertising
mm,
boards, arms outstretched, that's an iconic image. That the boy with the Stone Island, iconic. Frame it, hang it in the Louvre, etc.
I hope he got back in before fucking anybody got their hands on him because that's just a brilliant photo.
Aye, I'm sure there's I saw a picture of him back in the stand later, so I don't think he
Good.
go. Aye, I don't think he got like that a wee bit of exuberancy, like
Yeah.
name Alice, it's all
No,
fine.
exactly.
Back in the stand aye, and on we go. Colin, we talk about Derby nerves. So like we've spoken about it before. Like I said, like I was really nervous going into this one. The early goal comes. You were nervous before it. Did the early goal help or hinder the nerves for the rest of the half?
It always helps. Like, I mean, yeah, what helped? It wasn't just the goal, right? Because I thought after that they were rattled. They were kicking the ball at the park and
Mm.
misplacing passes. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing for quite a time. And with the noise, their fans quiet. We're one up. I thought that knocked them for six, so that settled my nerves more than
Aye,
just the goal. But so it was good. But it was great to get an early goal. Like it just does calm things. Or actually, I say calm things. It probably created more noise for us and shut them up because you never heard them. Whereas normally there's that bit to and fro and all that.
aye,
There wasn't any of that because it was kind of we were in control for 3/4 of the game. So aye, it did definitely helped. But as I say, the next 10, 15, 20 minutes definitely gave me more confidence.
aye. Because it wasn't in the script for them at all, Colin, was it? Like when they came here, us taking the lead, I don't think was in their thoughts
No,
at
they
all,
forgot.
and it looked like it
Aye,
rocked them.
it definitely did. Aye, I mean, definitely. Unless that's how they play every week. Like, because they were, as I say, the kicking the ball at the park, blasting them over the bar. You know what I mean? Shankland missing a sitter. Like, I don't know why. Like, I still can't believe when you watch it back. Like, Iredale knows he's there and actually still goes towards the ball.
Actually, terrible defending, eh?
Really bad. And then he's got a free header at goal and missed the target. So um, that was the only chance. But that was one of them where we take the lead and then they score 10, 15 minutes later and it just everybody goes, fuck.
Aye.
It takes all that adrenaline away. So I know you could see it was on not the luck on our side because I don't think we were lucky in any way, but that the momentum and all that was with us yesterday.
John Hearts had a fair bit of possession first half, but didn't really do anything with it. We had a few other chances. Boyles had one where he's gone through, it's out wide, and his shots kind of been dragged across the post. And then we had two like fucking Kenny McLean for an half efforts. Boyle's tried one that's gone out for a throw in, and then Bowie's done one. Josh Campbell at this, but we'll come on to Josh Campbell in a wee minute, and why he was on the pitch. But Campbell's racing through. Bowie
He's
surely
got
has
to play
to
at me.
slip a man in.
Aye, do you know? I think you mentioned it earlier. Like if the outcome of the match was different, you might be more critical of those things. And to be perfectly honest, I'd forgotten about some of those finer details. I had to go back and rewatch Mulligan in the second half when he was racing through, and just what sort of options he had available to him. I don't know. Like I think I've described previously that you trust the players to make the right decision in those moments, and if they've thought, "Fuck it, I'm going to have a crack at goal,"
But more
far
folk
be
are
it from
trying
me.
that now. That is a thing though. You see it. There's more and more efforts like that. It's just
Aye.
obviously they want
Aye.
to make the big.
The XG took a hit yesterday on that particular
Aye,
shot, didn't it?
aye.
Do
Well,
you
they were
know what?
hopeless. They weren't even fucking towards the goals. Like it's
I'm
like
not.
rugby touchline ones.
Because of my vantage point within the stadium, like I don't know exactly where the goalkeeper was in relation to the goal and how far out it was, etc. But I thought their goalkeeper looked quite a bit on the stocky side. And I wonder if that maybe
Conrad
played.
Logan-esque, you mean?
Like I spelt Conrad Logan, not full Conrad Logan. So I don't know whether. Well, actually, you'd maybe say that he was probably more like Kasper Schmeichel in terms of stature, and I wonder if they've maybe had that
By
in
the
their
way,
mind and thought, "I've got the beating of him here."
I don't want to jump ahead, but the third goal, as good a goal it is and how he struck it, it's not in the corner. Like if it was a Hibs goal, I'd be going, how's he not getting across to that?
We'll come on to it. So, we lost Nicky Cadden. I think it was a contact injury rather than like a pull or a tear. They said after it. I can't remember who it was that caught him.
I was just reading David Gray in the Observer
Uh-huh.
earlier on, and they said he felt it rather than it popped or it went. So I don't think that. I think they're hopeful it might not be a long one, but they don't know.
Fingers crossed. But Josh Campbell came on, and we saw McGrath move out to the left. Campbell take up the position in the 10, and then Colin just before half time.
Yeah.
Obviously that move sort of paid dividends. Talk us through the second goal.
So McGrath just done the boy down the left, didn't he? The guy just got left standing. I think I don't know who was that. The right back, because he got done twice, obviously in the first half.
Yeah.
Is it Stein? It wasn't Steinvender. It's not him, is it?
I don't know what one it was, but he got done again, and obviously Campbell's made a brilliant run, and it's a brilliant header. Like there's no it's funny because what did you make of the sub, right? Because I was sitting with my daughter, and when he went, because Cadden went down, tried to play on, and went off a few minutes later, didn't he?
Aye.
And we were going, who'd you bring on? Because obviously, as I've said, we've got a weekend squad there with a beater. Would be the obvious who would have came on if he hadn't even started a beater, and it would have been Cadden. It would have been coming on for him if it had been injuries. I says, well, McGrath will go to the left because he'd done that a couple of weeks ago. But then, are you bringing Newell on or are you bringing Campbell on?
Or Hoylett. Hoylett was on the bench, wasn't he? I think.
Aye. And our thoughts were, well, Campbell, because what does he bring? Athleticism and win stuff in the air.
Aye.
And he doesn't just win stuff in the air. I mean, that was like that run and the actual execution of that header was top quality.
It was superb. And what I loved about the goal as well is if you see where McGrath picks up the ball, it's not like he's picked up on the left hand side and gone, have to take it down the line and get a cross in. He's actually almost in the number 10 position himself. And he has a look about and goes, right, there's fuck all on. And he takes the boy out wide with him to beat him, to ping the cross in. And Campbell's run was good. The other good thing is there's other options in the box for the cross. It was the same with the first goal as well. It wasn't like Cadden picked the only Hibs player in there.
Because I think it was you. Was it you that said it earlier? I don't know if it was in the Patreon or one of the chats we're in, but that ball for the first goal, like it was a cut back to McGrath standing on his own in the penalty spot. So it was like they've worked that to say like they know that Hearts defend like that. So somebody stand deep.
Draw them in. It wasn't me, it was Leon.
Was it?
I
couldn't remember where I'd read it. So it was a good bit of coaching and a good bit of sort of analysis in that, I guess, by the coaching team.
If I can share something I'm using, so like we've not got into it yet, but Leon, I think, was going to say that he was going to message and say that Bowie needs to be more clinical. And that was in relation to, I think it must have just been before the third goal. He told me, I missed it. I was messaging to say that Bowie needed to be more clinical, and I hadn't said to him when McGrath was on the left hand side, I think McGrath's got a left foot. because I think he'd maybe had a wee moment before that. I think he'd had the corner, and it was a poor delivery with his right foot. And then when he was on the left, it looked to me like he was struggling a little bit to try and work the space to get onto his left foot. And he was maybe going to try and cut back onto his right. And he's delivered a brilliant cross. And, well, he's delivered a cross into the box. I think Josh Campbell has made the cross more than it was by making the connection that he has. And again, like the aesthetics, like just seeing the ball from my vantage point drift just inside the post, and then pandemonium over at Fatis and Allison for the second cuddle of the day. Just about killed them actually, because I think the first goal, the time of the time of the game that it came, like fucking yes, like all that nervousness, that build up of the game, it kind of explodes, and it was at an ideal time. And then you're thinking, I don't know if any of you guys ever think about this. Like, there's definitely other games where it happens, but I was thinking to myself, oh, it'd be quite nice to get a wee goal before half time here. And lo and behold, the football gods allowed it. And I think because the first half there'd been some good football, but there'd been a lot of stuff that was like up in the air.
Mhm.
I think David Gray described it as like the anxiety, like the chaos. So there was a lot of that in the first half, and then just to get that goal, I think when you like the with losing Nicky Cadden, like there was maybe a wee bit of concern there, thinking like Colin alluded to it there when he was saying like, well, what do we change? How do we change it? Who comes
Yeah.
on? And for that change to actually produce results, aye, just about killed them.
Do you
It
know what though?
was,
That's the first half. There, it was like I thought we totally dominated the first half, other than that Shanklin sitter, and the but their whole like setup and all that was because I watched them play last week against Rangers, and I might have mentioned it on here. They just swarm in numbers
Mhm.
round the ball against Rangers. That's how they were better than Rangers last week, and that's what we done to them, and they couldn't cope.
Mhm.
They couldn't cope with it. And so the way that Gray and Samson and Craig had them set up was just absolutely perfect. And the first goal helped it, but I think we would have still been doing that even if I hadn't got the first goal.
Aye. There
I
was
think that's what. Sorry, Matt. I think that's what makes the introduction of Josh Campbell compared to Hoylett or Newell the right change at that
Yeah,
time if you had to make it. Because
agreed.
one of the things that I found about Campbell late in the game, and this isn't a criticism by any means, it's that he came on after about 25 minutes and he was burst about 70, 75, along with a number of other players. And I'm not singling him out. I'm highlighting Josh Campbell here because he's known for having an engine, because he's known for putting the effort in. So I think it demonstrates just how much and how far and how hard he had ran during that game.
There was a moment in the first half that sort of typified Hibs' attitude compared to Hearts for the game. And obviously, this bunch of players mustn't have been told as soon as they signed for Hearts that how important the derby is to win and all the rest of it. Um, which kind of is the stuff that always gets thrown at us when we lose a derby. We had a corner and they broke. Shankland was picked up the ball in our half and he was kind of piling forward, and Mulligan, I think it was, eventually kind of came in, won the tackle, put the ball out for a throw in. But I looked up and there was easy 6 Hibs players ahead of Hearts players sprinting back to cover the
Mhm.
situation. And it was that I was like, fuck hell. That was like the moment where I was like, we're definitely going to be all right today, because that when I looked up, I was expecting it to be the other way, us chasing and then breaking and going, can they get a fucking goal out of this? He's going to just knock it in the middle, and the boy's going to race through, and it'll be one of these fucking typical derby goals. We go, oh, how have we done that for our corner? No chance. Like our players were all like full
I wanted
pelt
them
getting
all,
back
right?
for it. Aye, it
Yeah.
was superb. What was the chat like at half time then? How many times did the words next goals massive enter the conversation?
So I was talking to a boy in the front who I know through her football, and says, "Could they be getting third day?" It wasn't about it wasn't about them getting a goal. It was about really want to get a third. Funny enough, when we did, he turned around and went, "Could you really be getting a fourth?" It was
Get
just
on again,
fucking
mate.
right. But aye, that was the chat at half time. It was like, how good was that? That's what we want to see in derbies, and we want to get the next goal. That was where it was in my bit.
Aye. And so the second half kicked off, and we had a great start to it. So we almost scored with Bowie. John, he's been played in by Boyle. Uh, they said on the TV that they thought he was offside, but I think he was
I
offside.
paused it.
Linesman
I
never
paused.
flagged it.
I paused it in highlights. I don't think it was. I think the lines would have been out though.
Aye, would think they would. Well, obviously
Yeah.
they check everything if it goes in,
I
but
know, but it would have been a lines one. Sometimes
aye,
they could just look at it and go clearly, but that one it was tight enough for the lines to be drawn. I think.
aye. Pretty poor finish for Bowie, and this would have been when the texts were folk complaining about Bowie not being clinical. Because believe it or not, John,
Maybe.
I was halfway through that message myself to
But
aye to the group, and then
and this maybe answers the question of why Bowie was giving it the shut up.
well I think
Think he's in all the chats like.
no,
Maybe.
but I think if
You-
the reaction for the folk around us to his miss was anything to go by, he'll have heard it as well, because
Mm.
folk were on his case for missing that chance. Colin, you said he's not hit it right in the corner. It's the far off it, though, was
No,
it?
it's
It
a
was
it's
a
a
great
good
block from
goal. I
Mulligan,
know. I
and
know.
then Bowie's brilliant. Go just talk through it,
I
the
think
goal.
that the defender's got plenty of time to make the pass, and he's farting about with it. I think, and Mulligan just closed the space by the time he tried to launch it and got the block on, which put Bowie in. And I'm at the other end, right? So like the other end on the west as well. And so I'm thinking, hit it. And then he took the touch, and I thought, fuck, he's taking a touch. Kind of like he's not going to get the shot away now.
Aye.
And then just obviously bent it into the bottom. I was going to say the bottom corner, but it's not in the bottom corner. It put it in the bottom of the goal. I think it's a good enough finish. Like it was a good goal. Delighted, everybody's buzzing. But if I was them, I'd be gone. It's a fucking goalie then. But I'm not, because he fucked it and Bowie put it in. That's what he needed today, because the goalie never made it that far over. So maybe Kenzie goalie's not good.
I think harsh. I thought he placed it well, because it had to bend. It went out and then
Aye,
back in.
did.
Makes it hard for
But
the
didn't it
keeper
go in
to
the
save it.
corner? Aye, it's not in the
We
corner.
were talking earlier about how I think my McBee's laddie Daniel mentioned it amongst others, who said that Josh Campbell's header reminded him of Jason Cummings at Tynecastle, and watching Bowie's goal back yesterday, it reminded me a wee bit of Benji's in the cup final. You know, where he
Aye.
sort of like delays and lets the ball run a wee bit to give him that little bit of space, and then tucked it away.
Mhm.
And I had where I was sitting, it was the perfect vantage point just to see the ball nestle, not quite in the bottom corner, but far enough away for the
Aye,
goalkeeper that
you'd
it
have a
did
great
nestle.
view. Aye.
And it's again, it's just, I think at that point, like it was actually a wee bit of more of a relaxed celebration. I kind of wandered over this time and embraced Fatis and Allison and apologised for having almost killed them previously. But it was just, aye, it was. Do you know, thinking about like you don't always appreciate certain aspects of it at the time, but I think one of the things that we're talking about today is the like swarming in numbers and like pressing and closing down, etc. And I think we saw that combination in Mulligan and Bowie against Falkirk a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and it's paid dividends again. So it's definitely something that we can utilise in future games, and they can be doing more of.
Mulligan was brilliant yesterday. Like, I
Aye,
know
he
I
was.
was kind of having him and McGrath. I've kind of I felt a bit bad about picking them out the other week, but it's just because I want more from them, because I think they've got more in them. And Mulligan showed yesterday why he is getting talked about for Scotland squads. Just his work ethic. Obviously, we've not got into this next one, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the amount of effort and work and ball winning that he's putting in and driving
Aye.
the team forward, and that's outstanding.
Yeah.
And he was brilliant for that 60 minutes or so, whatever he played yesterday.
Hopefully, when we had a bit of feedback about that episode and some of the stuff that we talked about, like I hope it didn't come across as critical. I think by using them as like tools or mechanisms like to further the conversation, we got to a point where we realised what it was that we were talking about. And it was about finding the right bodies in the right areas with the right skills that complement one another.
Aye. Right, so we go 3-0 up, and it's like fucking we never go 3-0 up against them. Like it fucking happens once in a blue moon. Literally, like for kickoff, just about we have a chance to make it 4-0. John as Mulligan wins the ball just at the halfway line, drives forward, gets into the box. I think he's got Bowie or Campbell and Boyle. I think it's Bowie and Boyle that are waiting on the pass. Opts to shoot, misses the target. 4-0 would have killed the game, wouldn't it?
Aye, absolutely. And actually, it could have been the signal for more.
Mhm.
I think. Aye, like there's definitely been games that I've been at before where it felt like, and I think it's rare in football where you feel that moment. So actually, maybe another example would be the 5-5 game against Rangers in the final game of the season, where
Yep.
we were, what was that, a Stephen Whittaker header that got saved, and then they went up the other end of the park and scored. Like
Aye.
that was the sort of margin, and that was the sort of feeling, like, because that game, if you remember, it was like we need to win 5-0 to have a chance, to secure the European spot, and we were that close.
Aye.
And we did actually score the 5 goals, and it's been talked about. There's like Neil Lennon aeroplanes, etc. But that was the sort of feeling that I had yesterday when we broke. I was like, fuck, this could be 4, and if this is 4, this could be much bigger.
Like it's one of these ones, calling it if it goes 4-0, they're damage limitation at that point. Like they shut up shop and they go,
Yeah.
fuck it, let's make sure it's not a
Then let
5
him
or
in.
a 6. It stayed at 3, and then a couple of sort of key things happen. Mulligan gets booked for pulling back. I think it's Devlin.
They made 2 changes at half time as well. I didn't they? He tried to change it at half
Aye.
time, and obviously it made no instant impact. But that boy Benangame is decent. Like if he's on a free contract, maybe sign him.
He had a good game when he came on, I thought. But Mulligan had to go off. We brought on Newell, and Hearts then sort of chucking players forward, and they eventually kind of got the goal. And I think it's one of these things. Hibs got a bit of criticism for letting Hearts back into it or like sitting back, but I genuinely didn't think Hibs had much choice but to, because Hearts just they had done to lose. It's like a Hail Mary. Do you know when you go, well, fuck it, we've lost anyway, just chuck bodies forward and get the ball into the.
And we've done it this season.
Aye.
And it's been like this season. We've went. It just felt like it was. We spoke about it like a training session or something. Like just chucking bodies on in all sorts of positions and that. Can't remember the game, but we spoke about it just in the last month. And it was like, what the fuck are we doing? We were just chucking bodies on. Like there's Hoylett coming on, and there's Klidgey, and we've not taken any strikers off. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Aye.
I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm glad you mentioned it, Colin, because I was thinking at the same thing. Like, because I think the criticism at the time when we were just chucking bodies on it was like, what's the plan here? And it was like their plan was just let's just go for the Hail Mary. Let's just chuck bodies forward.
Yeah.
And there was enough time in the game that when they got the goal, they kind of could get back in it. So when it went 3-1, they got a big lift. The crowd got a bit nervous for a while. And then the game kind of it was just kind of a bit chaotic. The tactics went out the window at that point. We looked no bad on the break and had a couple of chances. They had a few chances, then they get the second goal. Keeper at the second one, are we all kind of quite comfortable that he should do better with the initial save?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would maybe, if the result had been different, I would maybe have watched it in greater detail. But he's gone, and I think this is it's the uncharacteristic thing about Salinger yesterday with that one in particular was that I think all of his other saves, and I don't mean just like in yesterday's game, I mean in previous games as well. His ability to get the ball away from the danger area is pretty good. So that one definitely stuck out as being like he's just had a moment.
He actually had two though, right? Because there was one in the first half that was offside as well, and it was quite similar. But I think Barlaser cleared that one.
Just bounced off him. That was like a weird thing. I
was
think he was properly put off by the point it was offside though.
But the second,
from my vantage point, I think I remember it. But from my vantage point and through a crowd of players, it looked to me like it had been a phenomenal save, albeit it didn't really count for much because it was offside anyway. So I'm assuming it's the same one.
It was almost like he was stuck in two minds, rather than stuck. He was thinking, do I just catch this or do I tip it over the bar? And he done neither.
Aye.
I'd still like my defenders to be more alert than.
I was just about to say that for all you can criticise, I think it's justified criticism for Saga, and we'll come on to his contribution again in just a second, because that wasn't the end. For all he's made the mistake and just palmed it back into the danger area, the defence is static, and we hadn't been all game like that incident that you talked about. We were first to react to it, Colin. We cleared it.
Cleared that.
The defence had been on their toes all the game, and just this one time, they just switched off, and Devlin was there. He almost fucked it as well. Didn't make a good contact on it at all. It just bounced in, and then you're like, fucking hell, 3-2. Here we go. Shankland has the chance. And this is where Salinger properly redeems himself, John. I mean, talk us through the save that he makes here.
It's just so I think from a vantage point with the one that we were talking about before, it looked to me like it was point blank reaction, similar to the one that he had a few weeks ago that didn't really get a hell of a lot of replays on Sky Sports or whatever. But it was like the one. Who was I don't know who the team that we're playing against, but it's the one where he just sort of chucked the hand up and he's on the goal.
It was the header, wasn't it? Aye, I think.
So I think I think his reactions, like he's obviously got a few plaudits for the clean sheets that he's had recently. I think, and I was just giving him some praise for getting the ball out of the danger area. But the other one, like I think his reactions are pretty good, and I'm hopefully underselling it enough that I didn't get the curse of the podcaster happening to us later on, where he's slow to react to something. But that was a proper reaction save yesterday, because I think the ball's come in at pace, it's come off Shankland at pace, and he's saved it really, really quickly and effectively as well.
Shankland's sort of scored. He's got good contact in the corner. He's been able to wait to celebrate, isn't he? And the away end's gone up to celebrate as well.
Brilliant, eh? We've been there. Like it was a proper Craig Gordon moment in a derby for me, like that one, because we've been on the end of that. Salinger's he makes similar saves to Craig Gordon. The only difference is he's good with the boy's feet. It was a brilliant save, and he made a couple of other ones. He tipped a couple once we started letting that guy come in on his good foot. He tipped one over the bar. He parried a couple out wide. And obviously he's parried that one directly down into the face, which he normally doesn't do. Normally he goes out the way, because folk moan that he's not catching it when he's parrying it out. And you go, well, as long as he's parrying it fucking that way, I'm quite happy. But yesterday, never, he just decided to fucking volleyball it down for Devlin to tap it in.
And it wasn't a great shot either. This is the thing. It wasn't one that
it was one of the weaker ones.
Him to have a lot of bother with.
Because Beningame had one after it, and the boy Kidiridis had a couple, didn't he? That were better than that. So it was actually probably the weakest shot of all of them that created.
This is what I'm saying. Like I'm how to describe this? Like, you might be right. Like, it might be the tamest one, but the context of it, whether it's like he's been unsighted. I've not seen if there's been like a wee bit of deflection, because like I've said, like it seems uncharacteristic for him to have dealt with the ball the way he did. That could be it as well.
It happens. Like players miskick a ball and goalkeepers make a wee mistake now and again. It's forgivable. You know, like it's just one of these things.
I think Raymond, friend and listener of the podcast, he was speaking to Jordan Smith after the game. Like, what did you think of that? And Jordan Smith was saying, "Nah, I would have caught them."
No, I heard that conversation. They went, "You would have caught them, smudger." Aye.
If you could have reached them. So he pulls off that save. He pulls off the one from Beningame. And we had two chances as well. Cadden finds himself at the byline where he plays it across the goal. I can't believe there's nobody gambling for it. But I suppose this is the difference when we're talking about the risks that you can take when you're 3-0 down compared to when you're 3-2 and making sure you win. Is you can't just flood forward with it, because you've got to have that defensive mindset as well. Or like, but we nearly did it, and then Cliche John should score. Do you think?
I honestly cannot remember that chance. I know that I'm known for forgetting things. I cannot remember it. One of the things I was going to talk to you there about in terms of risk was Gray's decision to sub Mulligan because he was on a booking and because he'd beaten his performance throughout the game, like up to that point. Like, I think that was a reasonably astute decision. I'm not going to say it was wise.
It was the only booking in the game.
It was only booking in the game.
No, I mean, they did just pull the shot.
Aye, and I'm not saying that Mulligan would have definitely got a second yellow, but he's definitely that type of player, and the type of performance and the way that he plays the game, like, you could see that it was a risk. And I don't think at that point in the game that was a risk that Hibs could take, losing a man.
I think Mulligan had taken a sore one as well. There was he picked up the ball on the left and he drove forward and he got fouled, and it was one of these ones where he got fouled and he got straight back up, got the ball and got fouled again. And I think
aye. So he
took a bit of dolly in there, and I think it was just after that Gray took him off.
I took a bit of umbrage with that, because he got booked for a shirt pull and he was taken to the ground twice, and there was no booking for either Hearts player. And I thought, like, and that was just the latest in a long line of beating decisions yesterday. Like, there was clearly a Hearts player has kicked the ball out and he's given them a bye kick. It was so like.
What about when the goalie kicked it against Bowie? And
can't understand it. And I was actually
they changed the rules.
I was screaming at Salinger later in the game because Shanklin was standing in front of him. Was just
kick
and
off
he was
him.
outside the box, just fucking kick it off him.
Aye. So you're not allowed to block a keeper. Like, it's a bookable offence if you deliberately block a keeper for kicking the ball. Bowie's in the vicinity, but he's turned his back. He's no jumped up today or fucking made himself big or fuck all.
They must have changed the rule, right? Because I just come back to me that I think did Dundee United no score a goal yesterday like that? The Aberdeen keeper booted it off a Dundee United player and it went in, and the goal got chopped off, and Aberdeen got a free kick. And he's no sticking his leg up or nothing; it's hit his back. So I don't know. They must have changed the rule.
If they changed that rule 20 years ago, Macalambi would have had a longer career at
Hibs. I know, but they also changed it because they changed it to 7 or 8 seconds they get, because at games like at the lower levels that I go to, that you hear the ref shouting, counting to 8.
They're meant to give a corner if they had on it too long.
Aye, so I don't know if it's part of that rule.
Shanklin was claiming for it when Salinger had the ball at one point. He
was trying to referee the game.
Grow up, Shanklin. Chris Black said beating was a disgrace and swear his performance influenced Gray taking Mulligan off just after being booked. What did you think of beating yesterday?
Right, okay. I just thought they got a lot of simple, easy wee fouls like Braga. We spoke about. He would just fall down as soon as somebody went near him, and they got the free kicks, and we didn't feel we did. But I don't know if that's just when you're biased. You know what I mean? But I think they got it just felt like they just needed to fall down and they were getting it. But I'm not arguing
I
with Mulligan's booking. That's definitely a yellow.
Aye.
I think I'd wondered out loud when we'd recorded previously whether McInnes would be a wee bit more conservative in his approach yesterday, and try and stifle the game as he'd done with Aberdeen sides in the past. And we'll never know whether that was his plan because we scored early, we scored late in the first half. But certainly those wee niggly fouls, like every time a Hibs player was within breathing distance, the Hearts player would go down and they would get the foul. And it was shit. But actually, like at 1-0 up, I'd say to Leon that like if this is the rest of the game, like it's not a great at that point. I didn't think it was a great game of football. I think there was attempts to play football by both sides, but if it just continued to be that war attrition where it was just shitty, bitty, going down for fouls, like absolutely fine, we're winning.
Mhm.
Keep going down.
Aye. I thought I agree with both of you there. Like it was a lot of Hearts players just fucking going down the slightest touch. Braga, Devlin, for all he fucking actually the tough guy, that just goes down with fucking.
Sometimes doesn't mean it though, like that one on the goal line.
Aye, sometimes by accident, but he wasn't looking for a
Just a
foul
habit.
there. I think what you look for there is consistency though. Like I think Hearts had one attack. It might even have been the Shanklin header, where which comes from him winning. He basically fucking fouls Megwar. It looks like a foul on Megwar when Megwar's about to head of the ball. He just comes to the back of him and flattens him. Megwar's kind of claiming for it, and the referee just waves play on. Campbell has one second half up on the right hand side and in their half where it looks like he's brought down and the referee just fucking play on.
Up in front of me, in front of the area where I sit, Meg was being in. I don't know how to describe this actually. Like I'm because it was more than him just sort of like stepping in and shepherding the ball to the plate, but there was a clear shove in the back from Shankland. It wasn't a
Aye,
case of I'm trying to stop myself because I'm running at pace and you've slowed down. It's a full on shove in the back. Beaten, not a word, not interested. It was I thought it was a shit performance from him.
aye.
Not unexpected. And this is going to fuel the cynicism when we see beating refereeing a future Hibs game. Performances like yesterday's.
It's a bit mental that somebody like Shanklin can like try and referee the game though. I saw him when I've watched the highlights back. He's up and saying, John, he's actually going, John, and pointing at his watch because O'Hara was taking too long to take a throw in. And you're like, you're just Lon Shankland. Like, you've
Yeah.
not even played for anybody good. Like,
Aye.
and it's not like he's like a big superstar coming back and like say if we were to get like John McGinn back or something, you think he would have a bit of aura, like it's just
Aye.
fucking Lawrence Shankland. Like it's fucking mad. It's like, have you seen got so much say over you? He's not even played for Rangers or Celtic or fuck all. You know what I mean? It's like he's never mind the Premier League in England. He's done
Aye.
fucking none. Mental that he's got that much say.
Megwar, John, you brought him up there. Let's just spend we're conscious of the time, but are you needing to be bang on the other night? Or you got time to kind of carry on a wee bit? Right.
No, I want to talk about John Newell. Joe Newell, no.
Good, right. Well, before we got into Junior, let's talk about Kyle Megwa. He definitely raised eyebrows when the team selection was announced. Had a good game against Dundee United last week. Candidate for man of the match yesterday when McGrath got the sponsors man of the match calling. But how would you have assessed Megwa's performance?
Megwa was really good, but then he tired, which I suppose, like, when's the lad ever played 90 minutes? Like, you know what I mean? But he tired, and because it was a hard shift out there trying to keep their star guy quiet, which he done. But then once Mulligan went off, it got harder for him, and that's when he was getting tired. And I think they were making loads of subs, and we weren't making that many, and that
Aye.
that the tiredness, you could see the difference there. And I think he should have maybe been taken off a wee bit earlier than he was. But then you're almost that's with hindsight. That's the end of the Dell thing, yeah. Because you're almost at the time you're going, do we want to change it though? Because we're doing all right, So anyway, I thought he'd done really well. Good, solid 7, 8 out of 10, which is really good. Obviously, he's hardly played. What was it, second start of the season or something? So, no, pleased for him.
Aye, John, how would you have assessed it?
It's funny you asked about like the man of the match thing.
Maybe got on the TV. Maybe got
Very
Sky.
good, but aye, and in the ground it was McGrath, and I gave him the +5 to the net McGrath for that. But I was thinking about it earlier, like with regards to like the context of Megwa. and his contribution yesterday, and whether like he would be like a sort of left field candidate for man of the match, just because of the occasion, because of his relative inexperience. I probably wouldn't have given it to him. So I think that's definitely elsewhere. But that's not to say that he didn't have a good performance. I thought first half, some of the stuff that you mentioned, like I thought maybe the pace of the game. I don't know if he was maybe surprised by it first half, but second half, like there was no, I never saw any evidence of that. He grew into the game. It's probably the best way to describe it.
Okay, Colin,
Mulligan had played the whole game. Mulligan would have been the man of the match. I think he was.
Oh, I don't know. Like McGrath's obviously got his assist and a goal.
Aye.
But like in it as well, and then had to move out of position for the rest of the game effectively.
No, I can see why. Definitely.
Aye.
But it's good to have more than one to pick for you.
But we've talked about this before. It's like when we play well, the team generally plays well. Like, and you can pick out a few players that are candidates for it. And when we didn't, it's like you're scraping to find somebody who's been a good performer. So it was good that we got the right balance on Saturday.
I'm surprised that we've gone 50 minutes into this recording and Colin's not mentioned Scotland Hall of Famer Grant Hanley. I thought he had a really composed performance yesterday at the heart of the Hibs defence.
Just expecting him, Johnny.
Aye, standard. But he Hanley absolutely marshalled the defence. He was brilliant.
He's the organiser.
Understated,
You see him because obviously when I'm in the end, he's the one that's keeping them all in check at the back. Like he's properly organising that defence. Gets in the blocks, love the blocks. You know when they just they let the shot away and he would just dive in front of it. A couple of them yesterday. Good headers, one off few headers. I'm not sure about their goal. Shanklin's goal. If he could have been any closer, we should maybe be.
Aye.
But other than that, I mean, he was just as good as most weeks. Yeah.
Jinky switched off, like marshalling the Hibs defence when Iredale went wandering and left Shanklin free at the back post. Or do you think that's all on Iredale?
That's on Iredale. Iredale sees him and then walks away from him. And you go, you've seen him. You've actually turned around and seen him. Walked away.
But that happens when you're comfortable in a game, and a bit of complacency slips in. You can kind of forgive it a wee bit for Iredale in that instance.
That's one of the things I was saying yesterday at 3-0 up. Like I felt pretty relaxed and was like telling people around me, like, no, I'm relaxed, I'm sound, it's absolutely fine. But 3-0 was boring. Like we had to make it a wee bit interesting just like for the remaining 44 minutes.
Well, what I thought happened is the players took a conscious decision. I think like Campbell's a Hibs fan in amongst there, but I think Bowie's got a bit of mischief about them. I think they've had a wee word with each other and says, give me a couple of goals, because then all the fans will still be in for Sunshine on Leith.
I know.
Kenny said if we get a fourth, they'll all fuck off and it'll be empty and it'll not be the same. Make as many of them in still to watch it as we can. So give them a couple of goals, make them think they're going to get back in it and just fucking troll them. That's what I think happened then. It was all deliberate.
Did you see at the end, like Bowie's got the photo, put his arms around patting Devlin on the head and that?
Aye.
That was a wee bit of that. Get this on the fucking photo, because mind David Boyle won after the last derby.
Aye.
Mind they all went. It was a bit of a replay of that, wasn't it?
Aye. Colin, you wanted to mention Joe Newell?
Aye. So, like, I think, so I seen he's getting a lot of criticism because the team probably, well, we weren't as good after he came on. After Milligan went off, more likely, right? Because I think Milligan was bringing that energy, covering the right-hand side more, keeping that boy out of the game. Newell's come on, and he's probably more similar to Barlaser, right? And he's come on, and it looked like the intention for him was, or for Gray bringing him on was, get hold of the ball, calm it down. It's fucking chaos out there because they've just chucked every cunt forward, right? They've not got any tactics. They're just bombing bodies in. Get hold of the ball, keep it, slow it down, blah, blah, blah. And yet, so it's not really like not his fault. Like he wasn't coming on to play that Mulligan game, and where that comes back to the AFCON, us missing our 3 players at the AFCON, because Jaiwa would have come on and played the Mulligan game, or similar to it, or could have. He's got that energy, and that's not what Joe Newell was bringing. So I think it was like we were limited in who we could bring on. Right, we've already got Campbell on that does that job. You take off Mulligan. Who else is on the bench that could do that job? Joe Newell's the closest we've got, but he's no that player. He's not got to do that. So you're asking him to do something different. So I think it's a bit unfair to say we were shite when Joe Newell came on. We weren't, right? There was chaos out there, and he came on with a specific purpose in my eyes to slow it down. And on occasion he did manage that. couple of times he didn't, but you know, like there was one he should have knocked up the line that he never, and I think it's a wee bit unfair some of the criticism he's getting, because what else could we have done? We could have left Mulligan on, right? And if he'd got sent off after for squaring the ball for the fourth and then getting sent off, if we had, that could have caused a lot of fucking reputational damage to that laddie. So I think it was the right thing to bring him on, maybe earlier than you needed to, but I just felt a bit like, I'm not saying he was good, right? I'm just defending him a wee bit, because I think it was clear he wasn't coming on to do that job, and I had to change something.
I think that's a fair observation.
I think that's what makes results like yesterday's all the more satisfying, when you've got some of the challenges that you've described. And like we had the inexperienced right wing back yesterday. You've got guys coming back from injury like Joe Newell has to play different roles. You've got a thinner squad than normal because you've got a few that are away on international duty. Like it doesn't make it a 6 point, and it just makes those 3 points feel a wee bit sweeter.
Aye, totally. And I think the point about missing AFCON players is massive, right? Because like you could argue that if Fabito was there, he would have come on instead of Campbell, and we maybe didn't get the second goal, or we scored a different second goal, as it might have been. But definitely Chaiwo. I think we didn't really have anybody that matched up with Beringame when he came on. And I think that was where Hearts got a wee bit of a foothold in the middle of the pitch, was we didn't have anybody doing it. I think Chaiwo, his style of play would have been, he would have been right up for that battle, and he would have just been getting stuck in about him. So it would have been good to have had him available for the game, and I think it maybe would have made it a bit more comfortable. Right, I'm going to fire through some of these YouTube comments now. I'm going to get near. I think we're going to get close to the Twitter ones tonight, so we'll probably take them on to extra time them on and give us something to talk about there. So where are we? Green Tea said, "Evening guys, pulse still the roof from yesterday. How do you just get like the adrenaline? Like I get the adrenaline, obviously. I guess we all do, but there's a sort of you use up some amount of nervous energy through a game, eh? Like, and the last 20-25 minutes were fucking horrendous, weren't they?
Last 15 for me. Like you went early. Like they didn't do fuck all at 75 minutes, mind.
I had my Fitbit on yesterday, which I've been using to track my heart rate in the gym and stuff. And after saying to everyone that I was relaxed, so relaxed, like my walk to the station was lovely. I've gone a different route through Abbey Hill. I'm listening to some music. Lovely wee wander down to the ground. I've had a brownie that Alison's gave me before the game, an unexpected surprise. Leon's given me some of these Roundtree's randoms. Just a lovely, lovely experience. And then I checked my Fitbit, my pulse around about, I don't know if it was like, it must have been like full time. And it was like 125 beats a minute. And then it's got like a wee marker that tells you like what sort of exercise, like the zone workout that you've been doing. It was up at like 200 or something. Like my heart was going fucking pelters.
So I said I'm glad I never wore my Apple Watch, like, because it would have been fucking high alert, like, definitely.
Phone in 999 on your
Sit
behalf.
down, take deep breaths. That's what I'd have been saying. I was shaking like a fucking leaf at full time.
One of these ones
15 minutes after.
The blood pressure's that high that if I cut myself, would have sounded like a kettle boiling.
Did you find that the first half, like, because of I don't know whether it was because of how it started and how it ended, but it seemed to go on for ages. And I definitely say to folk around me, like, we've got another 45 minutes of this.
Aye. Kenny said, how many times we'll watch the goals back? More than a couple, Kenny, I would say that. I love it after a derby when you go to social media and there's all the different footage, the different camera angles and all this kind of thing. It's brilliant. And more power to the folk that post all that stuff, because it's terrific. Joe Capaldi said, "Hi bangers, after yesterday's result, should we keep the same starting 11 for Aberdeen? Still not sure about Barlaser. We'll talk about the Aberdeen game probably in the morning on extra time, because we've not got time to talk about it the night." J-Star said, "Surely that's Megwa kept his place. Ahora was brilliant with him when he won duels, giving him high fives." We saw a return to that yesterday, didn't we? Like the players celebrating, and definitely, I think it was Pretty Boy and Hibs had mentioned the crowd, and that maybe the last 10 minutes go right behind the team, and it was like him when we were winning throw-ins and tackles and all the rest of it. It was fucking celebrating. I mean, I was at my seat. Can't remember if it was maybe McGrath making a challenge or something. I just cheered like a fucking goal. I was like, again, yes, again, one of these ones. And
then Boyle was back pushing boys about on his own goal line, helping Meg out and that as well.
Yep.
That was brilliant for Boyle.
Yeah. It was. It reminded me of who was who was the boy that we sold to Southampton, the young guy that Nick Montgomery played,
Whittaker.
Rory Whittaker.
Rory Whittaker.
I remember describing Josh Campbell supporting him at the time. Like it reminded me a wee bit of that, just like the senior players digging out the younger guys, and Martin Boyle being back in that position to just to help defend, and also like and then afterwards like the high fives, like the encouragement for the players around him would have been really beneficial for Mego as well.
Aye. Even after Salinger makes his save for Shankland, you see Iredale grabbing him and getting him like the sort of fucking the angry celebration.
Airedale's good at that though, but
aye.
he's been missing that this season.
Yeah. Jason said, start with Campbell and McGrath on the left. Campbell is a sheep scalper. To be careful how I read that one. I was like, Kevin said, Sunshine on Leith in front of the famous 5 Ultras. East Stand only get off their arses for one game a season. They do all go to the East Stand, but maybe they need to do it in front of the famous 5. That's a decent. But
Not the best.
I thought the whole stadium was brilliant yesterday, though. Like, well, the 3 home stands were terrific throughout it. Kenny said it was 3, should have been 4 or 5 up, and then let them in. Only downside should have scalped them yesterday. Chris said Hanley, another who was superb, marshalled that backline well and won everything. Just that's why we took off Mulligan, covered that. J-Star said, because he was on a yellow card, right? This is where we're getting into folk having conversations, and I lose the track it. Chris said, Cy Ferry said, all Hibs do is give the ball to Cadden and cross it, see if it works, who cares? I thought it was a perfectly legitimate tactic when you see the quality in Adrian's crossing. J-Star said, Nicky Cadden's a wonderful player, but the injuries are becoming an issue. He can't get a run of games, and him being fit or not could be the difference in position. We finish in the table. A few more comments about the booking for Mulligan. Chris said McEntee was the right back. Mr. 5 Daly said on the Mrs. Daly, I think it is maybe. On the high bees, can't believe we nearly bottled it. Like I said, I was all deliberate. No bottling happened yesterday. The Sailor Sports Scene, Ray McCool said the Sailor Sports Scene last night, the rules have changed on a goalie kick out hitting an opposing player. So there you go. The rules have changed on it.
It's funny what happens twice in a weekend, eh?
Aye.
Like the Dundee United one as well.
Things like that happen a lot, eh? Kind of like you'll... Aye.
You don't know. You don't know that's the rule, and it happens twice.
Aye.
We'll need to go and check out what the rule actually is then. So, are you supposed to give the keeper a certain amount of room to kick the ball away?
Just not be his path. How do you know what his path is though if he changes direction?
What if you just stand beside him and whisper things in his ear?
Might like it.
What would be your go-to whisper to a goalkeeper who's about to kick the ball off, John?
It depends who the goalkeeper might be. Talking to, I think it's Andy Allen, he sits up behind you.
Aye.
So he was telling me about some golf that he was playing this morning, and I think he was up against a couple of jambos. He was like, I'm going to have to find a way to, he's going to have to find a way to take the piss. Obviously, there's a really easy way, but I was like, you didn't just want to go out with a fucking 3-2 or whatever it happens to be. Like you want to plant little seeds to really set them off and what that would be.
Aye.
And that I'd be looking for something psychological. I'd be looking to do some digging beforehand, find out their social media history, their internet history. What you be looking at?
You want to know?
Aye. You can, if it's a heart, should be telling them to start the boats. Just get them ID. Ian Mackay said Megwa got a brilliant reception from the whole stadium when he came off. Must have made him feel great. It was like a cracking. I actually thought it was like I forgot he'd gone off at the other side of the pitch.
He made a good decision.
We're starting another minute's applause, but he went round to milked it absolutely. And Ian said it was Hanley's mistake for their first goal when he knew it. Right, we're not going to finish off on negatives. I see the one thing that annoyed me about it is you'll have Hearts fans that and McCann will probably look at the positive of getting the 2 goals back into the game and nearly getting a draw with it. But it's fucking easy to launch everybody forward when the game's lost already. It's like the whole time that game was in the balance, it was 1 team in it. Hibs absolutely fucking bossed that derby for almost start to finish. I mean, it went a bit chaotic for 20 minutes, but until that point, Hibs were fucking cruise control.
Dell was lost, man. You seen him? You see him at one point. He's got a pen in his hand, no paper, but so I assume he's writing in the back.
Writing on his hand.
in his hand. But he's doing that, and then there was other one. He's like standing with an angry face on, like because he kens the camera will be on him. He's just a fucking vain cunt. Yeah, you notice his t-shirts were like the worst since we said we got saggy tits because he knows he's heard.
I think they're getting far too much credit for almost getting back into the game. Like they fucking lost.
I mean, you can, start playing when you're 3-0 down. It counts for nothing. Like it's too
Aye.
little, too late, isn't it? Like it shows the importance of getting that third goal because it was enough of a buffer that we were able to absorb a bit of fucking panic stations moment for
He's
the
getting
last season.
credit because all his pals are in the fucking studios talking
Aye.
about it. Right?
Aye.
You've got McCandy in the co-commentary. You've got Boyd in the fucking studio. You've got Stevie Thompson in the other studio. Like they're all just none of them criticise him. Like this is how he's got the reputation he's got. His tactics were a fucking shambles, and then he just threw every cunt on. Even the laddie Wilson that everybody's forgot about. Like they were all getting on because he had no idea what to do.
Just try to hit the ball at the box, hope for the best. WTO rules said the last few weeks you've pointed out that we haven't had the fist pumps and pats in the back we had last season. Saw all yesterday. Sanga with a triple celebration at the end. He was brilliant when he caught that ball. I think it was Campbell flicked the ball up in the air and Sanga caught it and just before the full time whistle.
Yeah.
Ian said biggest attendance of the season. It was over 20,000. And Chris said I'm so invested in Colin's choice of drink. What are you on the night, Colin?
I went and bought these on the way home after the game. I never drank them because I got home. I was fucking knackered. Cruz Campo it is. I got home and I thought I'm going to have a couple of beers. I'm going to see if I can find a match on the replay. And I got in and I sat down and I thought I'm fucking exhausted. Like after that.
It's
Do you know
Spanish
what?
beer, is it? Cruz Campo, and
Aye.
I think the literal translation for Cruz Campo is Hibs 3 Hearts 2. Fuck his.
Yep.
So that's a good
I
choice.
That's why I
was.
bought it.
This is a wee stealth post, but I was out for lunch today, and when I was up at the bar, there was folk buying Cruz Campo, and I don't think I can remember ever hearing of it before. But I think it was in the last couple of weeks, I was having a laugh with the Down the Slope boys, and I was suggesting like foods named after Hibs players. So there was a Jayardale Jambalaya, there was a Bowie Baklava, but the first one was a Salinger Schnitzel, and that was what I had for my lunch today in
Nice
honour
one.
of the Austrian.
Can I just repeat something that I read? And I've not fact checked it, but Derek McInnes has never won an Edinburgh Derby at Easter Road. It's an interesting fact.
I believe it's true. It's certainly lagging behind David Gray in that respect.
However many, you said they're calling it McInnes was out of ideas. Like he was schooled by the student rather than the master.
Just so we're sharing things. Would you like my T-shirt? It's
Yes.
Oh, aye.
Aye, so this is like
Uh,
I'm a Radiohead fan, so it's like the wee Radiohead symbol, sort of adapted to have wee microphones in it for the podcast.
Are we doing product placement now?
Aye, that's it. I thought we might as
I
well
know.
showcase
You've
every
mentioned
Christmas
Fitbit.
present.
You've mentioned, well, hopefully we'll get a sponsor.
Aye.
Fitbit, Apple Watch, Radiohead, Longbangers t-shirts and Cruz Campo. One of
Aye.
yous, come on.
It's clear that we are for sale.
Aye. MacBooks, Lamborghinis. Right, we will wrap up there. For subscribers, we'll be back tomorrow with extra time. We'll take some more of the talking points that we never got to tonight to cover it. We'll also look ahead to the Dundee United game. So if you want to watch that or listen to it, you can click the join button here on YouTube, or you can go to our Patreon and you can sign up there, and you'll get access to that and all the previous ones as well that are on the platform. And we'll have the phone in on Wednesday as well, so that we'll talk about the Dundee United game on the phone in. So if you want to get involved with that again, go to YouTube
Aberdeen
members or
Aberdeen game.
Aberdeen. What did I say? Dundee United.
Aye.
That's because we played them last week. I was talking about the earlier Aberdeen game. You can come on the podcast. We've got our regulars that come on. We're always looking for new faces. Well, I'm certainly always on the lookout for a new face because I got a raw deal with my one.
Yeah.
So if you want to get involved, the Zoom details are posted on Patreon and on YouTube as well. Right, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your comments. We're on the fucking high bees, and we'll see you next time.